Thank you
late
guys so much
evening
for.
on this beautiful, approaching sunset and overcast moving in on a hot, steamy, hottest day of the year so far in the greater Bloomington metropolitan area. And I believe it hit 90 degrees for the first time today. Very hot, very muggy, very uncomfortable. Just like the Bitcoin market is very uncomfortable right now. We're starting this off a little different. See this guy, Peter Schiff? Subscribe to his station. Watch him. Steve Van Meter, very highly scumbag right there. Steve Van Meter, very, very highly educated, very smart, right? Jim Rickards. These are the kind of people that I listen to give me the insight on the monetary and fiscal policy and how that correlates with inflation, the CPI, Bitcoin, risk assets, gold, silver, and all the other things. Jim Rickards, Stansberry Research. I have thousands of hours at work that I've listened to these people, seminar after seminar after lecture, right? All these guys. It's all built up in my head. Stansberry Research is a great one. Kitco News is a great one. Very informative. I highly recommend that you subscribe to Kitco News. It's very, very educational and informative, and it's one of the things, these people that I'm showing you shaped my life as far as the way I do finances, right? Along with Robert Kiyosaki, right? Rich Dad Radio. Read his book, Fake Teachers, Fake Assets, Fake Money, right? Very smart guy. I learned a lot from him on how to become an entrepreneur, get cash flow, stay ahead of the game, right? He's a very smart guy. I highly recommend that you check those people out because I listen to them on a daily basis. Every time they are at a lecture, a seminar, etc., I listen. They talk, I listen, right? That's how it works. And then I talk, you listen, because for about 20 years I've been listening to their advice and it's paid off handsomely. Let's look at the quick gold. See that? Gold's holding firm. Silver's holding firm. Didn't go down 50% last week. It's up. It was up about $100 in the last 14 days, right? It's had 12 out of the last 14 days green. Bitcoin's down 55, 60% because people FOMO in and they ride the hype and they get fucking shasted and heisted. Now, we're just going to do quick on the fly TA for my audience. I've had some questions about when Bitcoin's going to go up or down or whatever. You got to let the price action dictate now, right? We just had a massive shock to the system again. And now you got to try to wait for the price action to go enough to see what pattern you're in. And like I said earlier with Bitcoin, the most probable scenario now, after you bottomed and then you double bottomed, is to trade up and fight your way into this overhead resistance. But see the volume still? It's crashing, so it's bearish. So that leads me to believe no matter how high this gets up here this evening or tonight, it's going to get rejected and come back down at least to retest for a third time. And then that would look like a descending triangle, and you would think you would break lower. But the volume is key right now. Best case scenario, if you're in this coin and you bought anywhere up there and you're in trouble underwater and praying to God it bounces, this has got major overhead resistance at this down sloping yellow upper resistance at 40,000. And if the volume doesn't get big candles like that, right? Gotta get big candles. If you're not seeing any of these big candles like that, but that sell pressure, sell pressure, sell pressure, you're gonna have a hard time making it up past here, and probably a hard time getting past the 200-day overhead and the green line, right? That's Bitcoin. Let's go to Litecoin. Fast paced. Litecoin's the same thing. Let me get my eraser out because on Litecoin, it moved first yesterday, so with the volume and confirming the breakout, so that gave us a little heads up what the rest of the market was going to do. Well, we knew what the rest of the market was going to do, but once we seen Litecoin go, we knew the rest were going to follow. Let's clear some of this noise out, right? So kind of on the fly TA, good job Eraser. Another flawless entry and exit for Eraser. Everyone loves Eraser. Subscribers have asked for more Eraser, so I give them more Eraser. Now this line up here, make it bigger because it's in play. Pull a little perching tool, line tool with an arrow. You can kind of see we dumped, then we came up and got rejected, then we dumped. And that's why yesterday we drew this yellow pattern when the price action was up here in that bearish pennant, and we said it was going to break down. And then if you guys are wondering on Litecoin what I think it's going to do the next few days, I said it's probably going to bounce after you hit this targeted move out of the breakdown, which the targeted move was like, it was up here. It was like $120. And then I said it could bounce back, get rejected by this overhead resistance where the 200 day would be now, and then come back down, then make another run at it, and then come back down to retest lower levels. This is what I think you're going to do in Litecoin, because if you look at the volume in the 30-minute, it's not there. The only time you get spikes in volume, besides one green candle, which is surrounded by sell volume, and everything else is just sell volume and dying. Again, just like everything else, if you're going to try to blow past this upper resistance, you're going to need big candles like this, right? Big candle bodies to blow by that, and I just don't see that happening right now. So if you're in this coin or you're trying to swing trade it right now, this is your key overhead resistance. This green line is going to coincide and have confluency to, you see that? It's going to give us confluency there, so we know that that down sloping upper resistance is true upper resistance and is going to play a critical role. And I think you're going to get rejected up here unless you see big candle bodies come in, right, as the price goes up. And you can see right now it's just not happening. You say, well, what the fuck? Well, look, we can even zoom out and you can see there's the only thing in the 2 hour is heavy sell pressure, right? That's all you're getting. Every time the volume comes in, it's sell pressure because you're in a major downturn right now. Big candle volume, big candle volume. Those are the kind of things you need like this if you're going to try to break over that overhead resistance. In Litecoin, I don't think you are. So I think your barrier or your ceiling is up here at about the 170 to 180 level if you try to ooze and squeeze and move your way up with dead volume, right? ZIL is going to be the same thing. All these coins are the same thing. ZIL came down to our target beautifully. We hit that. Now, if we had to do live TA on the fly, get some of this noise out of there, you can see that. It hit it beautifully. Get that out of there. Call that beautifully. I mean, if you guys were following me, you would have been out of this fucking coin. And all these other coins. You can type Digibyte and Bitcoin. I had sell orders here because we were all in rising wedges. And I said sell. If you broke that up trending line, you sell. And you wouldn't have been in this fucking mess if you were following Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. But I'm getting a lot of comments. And it sounds like a lot of you guys bought into the hype by the hustlers and shysters and fleecers. And now you're coming to Vincenzo to see how you can get yourself bailed out, right? Well, the first step to being an entrepreneur millionaire is not to get caught up in the mess and the hype. See what I'm saying? And you did. Now it's up to you to invest in your education, donate to the channels that aren't heisters and aren't fleecers like Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, and dig yourself out of this. But this looks very bearish too, for obvious reasons. There's like all these coins, there's no volume. I don't know how many times, that's going on a t-shirt too, no volume, right? So even if you come back up and jag it up in weight, even if you crash right here this evening and then you start coming up like this, these overhead 200 in the green and the overhead 50 in the blue, without big candlesticks like that right here that are green like that in the hour time frames and 2 hour time frames, you're going to get rejected if you come up here at like the 13-14 cent level, and then you're going to retest this lower support at 5 cents. And if you don't hold that and the volume will come in, you're going much, much lower. These levels may seem cheap to some of you that are watching these prices at all-time highs, but if the volume doesn't come back in, and this is an extended bear market, these prices are still very, very expensive. They have a long, long, long way to come down, right? Like, subscribe, and share a quick update.